Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Hope Everywhere on this Sunday, the 30th of August. I say Sunday, the 30th of August. It is for you when you're seeing this, but for us, it's mid to late July because we've recorded these a long way in advance so that our team could all have a nice bit of a summer break over the August period. So we're doing this now, but you're seeing it then, which is now, but not now. You know what I mean. So good. Welcome to Hope Everywhere. You know the drill for this by now. I'm sure you've watched us for the last couple of weeks. So we're going to meet together this morning. We're going to do some praying. We're going to have a little bit of worship. Apart from the guys in the church, probably won't have the worship, but you guys at home will. And we're going to have an interview with some beautiful people who are sitting just to my right over here, who you can't see just yet. But we will interview with those guys and we'll let you all go about your day. So welcome to Hope Everywhere. We hope you're having a lovely week. I'm just going to pray to start the service this morning. We like to pray here. We believe prayer works. I read a fantastic quote by Mother Teresa this week about prayer, which was I'm going to paraphrase this slightly because I'm not brilliant at remembering quotes word for word. But essentially she said when she required something, she prayed but realized that actually the change was in her. So when she prays for strength or for any particular situation, she realizes that rather than prayer changing that thing, prayer changes us and our response, and then we change that thing. So prayer changes us and then we change the world around us as a result of that prayer. So we're going to pray together. It's powerful, it's amazing, it's time for us to connect with God. Heavenly Father, we welcome you here this morning as we gather together, some of us in person and some of us virtually. Lord, we pray that as we take this time out of our week just to sort of concentrate on spending some time with you, that you would meet with us, you would speak to us, and that we would hear from you as clearly as possible, that whatever it is you want to say to us or challenge us on or encourage us about this week, that we would hear those things. That we would enjoy the worship, but not just for it being wonderful songs and singing and enjoying the music, but that actually our soul connects to that worship so that we are bringing glory to you through that. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. We're going to go to some of that worship right now. So I'm going to hand over to the band who are going to lead us in some song worship now.
To Calvary, where Jesus bled and died for me. I see his wounds, his hands, his feet, my Savior on that cursed tree. His body bound and drenched in tears, they laid him down in Joseph's tomb, the entrance sealed by heavy stone, Messiah still and all alone. And oh, praise the of the Lord our God, oh praise his name forevermore. For endless days we will sing your praise, oh Lord our God. And on the third and break of dawn, the Son of Heaven shall pierce the night, and I will rise among the saints, my gaze transfixed on Jesus' face. Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Oh, praise His name forevermore. For endless days we will sing Your praise. Oh Lord our God. Oh Lord our God.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to move on now to another one of our lockdown lesson interviews. You'll have seen a few in the last couple of weeks, and this is our final one, sadly. However, I won't say we've saved the best for last because I don't want to be mean about the other guys, but you know, we have got this morning the lovely Hugheses. Good morning and welcome to you both.
Good
Becky
morning.
and Adam, how are you?
Good, thank you. Very good.
Good. We've saved the best for last, let's be honest, haven't we, really? You know, I think that's fair. Also, Adam, I've worn my most Adamy t-shirt for
I
you
did
this morning.
notice that. I was a little bit disappointed there wasn't Mini on it.
Well,
But I will
haven't
take
got
a
mini
serious hand
t-shirt.
over. Haven't you?
No, weirdly,
You're
having
missing
owned
out.
2 minis in my life, I don't have a mini t-shirt.
Disappointed.
A mini wouldn't fit me anyway, mini t-shirts. Extra large all the way. Anyway, moving on. Good morning and welcome. We're going to talk a little bit about lockdown and what it's meant for you guys this morning. If you could, right off the bat, sum up lockdown in a single word, and then we'll go into a little bit more detail later, what would that be?
I actually had this question posed to me yesterday, which for everyone at home is many moons ago, in some training and work, and the word I picked was crazy.
Crazy.
For me anyway, because I think it's just we've been so busy with working full time, obviously having Evelyn as well, but then also it's a crazy time, isn't it? Everything that we've got used to, everything that we just kind of take for granted, suddenly isn't there.
It's just such change.
Yeah. And it happens so quickly, and it's going to be such a slow process to get back to that. For me, that sort of felt quite crazy.
Crazy. Okay.
Wow, that is a good one.
Darn, it's taken the
I
good
That's
one.
why I jumped in there quick.
There's so many words, but I would probably say resilience.
Resilient. Okay. As in, it's forced you to have resilience, or that you
Yeah,
felt resilient. Or?
I think a bit of both, really. I think it's been, I was tempted to say challenge because having a young toddler, as well as
Who's not with us this morning,
who's not
sadly.
with us, with
but
grandparents, because they can help now. But having both Adam and I have worked
Yeah.
throughout lockdown, and we've also had to look after Evelyn the whole time too. And whilst it's been lovely, it's been really lovely to, it's felt such a privilege to witness all the changes during this key time in her development. It's also been quite testing.
Yeah.
And
How old is she? She's 2
she's 2 next month.
now. Next month. Yeah.
But
yeah.
she will have turned 2 by the time this goes
By the
out.
time this goes out, she's 2 now.
She's 2 now.
Not now. Okay.
So she's a lovely kid, just so lovely to be with. But she's very lively, very active, and not particularly good at playing on her own, and so needs you to be there all the time. And she's at that stage where she's grabbing everything off the surfaces and finding things to play with that she shouldn't play with. So it's been really hard at times.
Yeah. It's pretty much a full-time job walking around behind them, isn't it?
It
Just go, no,
is.
don't touch that. No, not that one. Don't play with that thing. Yeah,
I know.
but not that. No, that's sharp.
And you feel like
Yeah.
you're saying no all the time,
Yeah.
and just you don't want to be that person. But I think actually, like at times at the start, I felt like I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can keep working and looking after a child like on our own all that time. I just don't know how I'm not going to go insane. But actually, I feel like over this last few months, God has taught me a lot about how resilient I am, and kind of has developed qualities in me. Like I'm not generally a very patient person. Like Adam's much more patient than I am, but it's tested you a little bit as well. But I really feel like God has just made me surrender a little bit
Okay.
and made me more patient and helped me to be able to deal with juggling multiple things more over
So
this time.
has that been a surprise for you that actually you've got that within you? Was it something you didn't really think about yourself before, or was it something you thought, I'd like to be more resilient, but something needs to come along and make that happen? Or
Yeah, I think it's learning really, because I think sometimes you don't feel like you're capable of something, but God gives you the strength. So it just reminds you that, you know, no matter how difficult a situation that you find yourself in, that through God and through prayer, and that you can actually, He will give you the strength to deal with many a situation, whatever you find yourself in. Though you'll always have difficult times and it'll always be challenged, that you can get through it if God equips you.
good. Well, that's brought us very neatly into what has God challenged you with, and you obviously heard a bit about resilience there. Adam, if I can ask you the same sort of a thing.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the big things that I've been challenged with is sort of not being able to spend time with sort of family and friends. Obviously, my parents live an hour and a half away, so that's been even harder to see them. And actually, at the time of recording, we've seen them twice since the beginning of March.
Wow.
So it's just before Mother's Day. We haven't even had a Mother's Day with my mum yet, and that's been really tough. Everything's been done via sort of Zoom and text. One of the things that we were talking last night about this was the technology that is around now has made things like that so much easier. But still, it's that face-to-face conversation, isn't it? And even when we all arrived here this morning, you said yourself, about hugs, and for us, it's so natural to hug.
Yeah.
But suddenly that's been taken away from us. So it's been a challenge being able to sort of have that time with family and friends, and we've been for a social distance walk, just chilling out in the hammocks, and that was lovely. And I think we both really appreciated that.
Absolutely.
I know I did. And I think for me, that challenge of not being able to just sort of spend time with family and friends, but at the same time, as we mentioned before, having that full-time role of looking after Evelyn and the full-time role of working, and then trying to fit in a bit of time to do things for ourselves.
Yeah.
So that sort of balance has been a real challenge.
Yeah, for those of us that are naturally very tactile people, it's just been a total, headbend, doesn't it? Of like, all of a sudden I just can't touch the art. The love language of physical touch has become a no-no. Like, you can't touch anybody, and very appropriately, obviously. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It is just very weird. I know for some people, actually, they've really liked it. And they're like, no one's going to try and hug me now. This is great. So swings and roundabouts, horses for courses, and all that. So
I think it's been tricky, particularly in some situations. Like, I lost my uncle during lockdown, and it was just so strange. It was in Liverpool, so they could only have 10 people at a funeral, and you had to sit 2 meters away within the funeral from people in your own household. And so it was just so strange an experience, not being able to comfort your own family, and having not been able to say goodbye.
And so much of comfort is physical touch.
Exactly.
It's
You don't
hands,
realise.
it's hugging. Yeah.
You don't realise how much that is a part of comfort after grief. And then my dad went into hospital pretty much straight after the funeral, to be honest, went straight into hospital to have he had eyesight problems, and he ended up staying in. And then we were on a bit of a roller coaster of emotion, because he was told that he might lose his sight, that it might be a brain tumour. Then once he was cleared of that, we were kind of positive, and then we were told it might be MS. It was just, it was a really difficult situation all this time. We had to just be on video call with my dad, and he was upset, and you just wanted to be able to give him a hug, and it was really hard. Like, you don't realise how precious just being able to give a hug to someone is until you're in those situations.
Yeah, so much of normal life carries on, doesn't it? That actually people still get sick and go to hospital. People still have birthdays and weddings and funerals and things. Like, so much of quote unquote normal life carries on, but we have to approach it so differently. It's a very jarring experience in a lot of ways, isn't it? Very difficult. So you touched on some of the some more personal social challenges. We looked a little bit about how God has challenged you in that. Let's look at the sort of brighter side a little bit if we can. Have there been any real positives to having a lockdown for you guys?
Yeah, I think for us, we live in a nice little cul-de-sac. There's about 12 houses there, and we kind of knew most of the people there, but there's a few people in the corners that we kind of just waved to as they drove past. The clap for the NHS has been absolutely fantastic in our street. So we'd go out at 8 o'clock, we'd all clap, and then it wouldn't be till 8:30, 8:45 that we'd actually be coming in, because we'd all just gone stand out in, outside people's gardens, social distance, of course, and just have a really
So you feel like you have to sort of caveat
You do,
every
yeah.
night. So I did this with my friends. We did
Social
social distance though. It's all right. Don't call anyone. I'm like, it's fine.
and how long's that
I
going
think
to
we all
stay?
just know, don't
Yeah.
we, now that it's like, yeah, we did it socially distance. It's fine. Just chill, man. Yeah,
But
go on,
it
sorry.
was really nice to sort of build that relationship with the people in our street as well, and they've all sort of become like additional aunties and uncles for Evelyn.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So
yeah, which
she's
has
actually
been-
got to meet a bit of a wider community
yeah.
and stuff. So.
And they all look after. She knows them all. She knows most of their names. As you turn round in our road, we kind of drive to the bottom end, spin round and come back. And quite often on the way to nursery now, she'll sort of wave to each person's house, and she knows who lives in
Who's
each one. Which
That'll
is
be really nice. I imagine as a child, I don't remember being that age myself, but I imagine that just it sort of broadens her world a little bit and realises actually there are other people about, and I now know them, and it gives her a bit of maybe safety and security of knowing the faces that she sees around. So it's probably had a massive impact on
Yeah.
her.
And I think also social skills with people of a different generation.
Yeah.
You know, it's for her is amazing. I mean, she's such a social little being anyway.
She is, yeah.
But to have all those people come around and all those people cooing over and loving her, and it's just obviously she just wants to go up to everyone to cuddle. And that I think for her is quite difficult to try and understand why she can't do that. But it's lovely to see how they've all just kind of taken her on almost as someone else in the street. Which is lovely.
It's quite easy sometimes to live in a little Christian church bubble, isn't it, of like all the social circle and everything. And so just expanding that a little bit to the people that are in your street. A lot of people start talking about the new normal. It's a phrase we've heard a lot. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't think anybody really knows what this looks like. I know from a work perspective, I'm thinking about working in schools next year. What is that going to look like? Nobody knows. This idea of new normal, what is the thing for you guys, do you think, maybe as a couple, as Christians, as individuals, as a family, that you are going to take with you and think, actually, when all this is blown over and gone, what is it that actually we want to keep from this?
I think for me, and I think for Adam as well, I just felt like we rushed all the time, post-lockdown.
You washed,
No,
did you say?
well,
Rushed.
we did wash a lot.
I'm going to say, I mean, presume you washed.
We washed
Yeah.
most of the time.
I mean, hygiene's important, especially in a pandemic.
It's
but,
the
you
worst
know.
day of the month for me. Yeah.
Rushed.
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 Sorry.
So yeah, I mean, I rushed to get up in the morning, get everybody ready, and get to work. Rush to get some lunch. Rush around just all the time. Everything felt like a rush. Or if we were going on a day out that we'd planned, it was a rush to get there. And I really feel like I don't want to go back to that. I feel like lockdown's given me an opportunity to have the burden taken away of not having to rush around all the time. So I'd like to really continue that and to just enjoy the simpler things in life. It's so easy to just want to go, I don't know, to the zoo all the time, or to the farm, but actually just we've been able to go to our local park down the road during lockdown, when you could only go in your local vicinity and couldn't drive anywhere. We used our local park, which we used the little park and the swings there, but we'd not really explored the rest of it. And it was actually really refreshing to just sit on the field there, playing with Evelyn with some bubbles and having a little picnic. And she loved it. You don't have to spend loads of money, and you don't have to go to big places for kids to enjoy things. They just want your time. They just want you to be engaged with them and really giving them your attention. And that's been a huge thing for me, is that, not that we've not tried to do that, but that you don't, it just having a simpler life
Yeah.
is definitely something I want to
Being
take forward.
in the moment, in the present.
Yeah, and I mean, we found so many like new places in Wirral. I mean, I'm from here. I've lived here most of my life, and the amount of new places we've discovered and beautiful places, you know, just makes you appreciate God's creation. But we've got so much on our doorstep, and I just really want to utilize that and enjoy it.
So yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Just to kind of gain a few new skills and kind of find new
Absolutely, yeah.
places and just kind of go, oh yeah.
That's definitely another thing, is that in the busyness of life, I think you can lose sight of what you really feel passionate about and what kind of maybe God has put in you to be passionate about. For me, like when I was younger, it's been animals, wildlife, just massive passion, always been an animal person, and but never particularly like worked in that area. But I won't go into the details, but very long story, but I managed to I ended up getting involved in wildlife rehabilitations, just helping out some local groups, and now we have pigeons living in our porch.
Amazing. Wood
So
pigeons?
no, well, we've had wood pigeons. They've just gone onto a release aviary, which is lovely. But these ones
Right,
are
so what
feral
would do with
pigeons.
pigeons?
Feral pigeons, which are my favourite. They're a little bit less flappy when you're
Yes.
trying to clean them out. But yeah, so I really feel like I've had the time to reconnect with some things that I really like. I'm really passionate about.
I remember a while ago, Johnny preached about, I think it was Johnny, preached about the holy nudge.
Yes.
Like you get within you, there's just like something that
Yeah.
either some sort of social thing or injustice that bothers you, or something you feel really called and passionate to. And actually, we're God given, we're God made, we're God breathed. You know, God is within us, and actually, whatever that is within you is probably from God, and you can obviously discern
Totally.
that and test that against, you know, if it's something terrible, then it's probably not
Yeah.
from God. But
Yeah.
but it sounds like that's the thing, that's actually now you've had
I
a bit of time to explore that and let that out a bit.
I do. I think
Could be.
there's several times I felt God moments in you know what I've been doing, or I've been said to God, you know, God, you know, I've been keeping these in my porch. Like I really need a shed. I'm looking for one. Couldn't find one. This has been a few weeks now, and I put a post on Facebook yesterday, and I said, God, if I'm to do this, if I'm to help with this rehabbing, you really need to find me a shed. And then the next minute, James
I have a shed.
has a shed.
Oh, it's not even my shed. It was Craig's shed.
Oh, well, thank you,
that I
Craig.
then took because I thought I could use that, and then didn't, and it's just been sat on my drive for a few months.
But actually, we need quite a specific shape and size, because where it's going to go, we've only got about 8 foot to be able to squidge it in and be
Yeah.
able to get things back and forth and whatnot. And Becky's been sort of laid on the floor, and I've been sort of going, well, yeah, it's about right space, and we get measuring tape out, and yeah, this will fit.
So you need a
Um,
shed that's like 1.5 Becky's by 2 Becky's.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah, and so thank you, and thank you, God.
Yeah, no worries. Literally, I was thinking yesterday, I'm like, well, I need to get rid of this. It's taking up space on the drive. It's just kind of getting a bit annoying. I was going to stick it on Facebook, and then
And your shed is 1.5 Becky's by 2 Becky's,
it's
isn't
exactly 1.5
Yeah.
Becky's by 2 Becky's. So yeah, I mean, it's just there.
It's-
Things like that can be a real
Yes.
sort of.
Well-
If you want to choose to see them as that's a nudge. That's
Yeah.
God's going. There's
Yeah.
some provision because that's something I want you to do.
That's the thing. I think like, obviously not just with mine, but I've noticed a lot of people using the time, if they've been furloughed or other things, to actually explore passions that they've had for a long time and not had the time to do. So I think it's been a real time of kind of like reflection for people as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Any closing thoughts then? That's a lovely thought to close on. A lovely bit of time of reflection for people to explore stuff. Adam, any final pearls of wisdom for us?
I never have pills of wisdom.
Any drops of sludge for us?
That's more like it. Yeah, I think for me, it's really nice to be able to have had the opportunity to really appreciate some of the simpler things in life. I've always said to Becky, I have one hobby, which is collecting expensive hobbies.
Yeah.
Same. And to suddenly not be able to go out and play ice hockey or go to bagpipes or go and fence or do this or do that, and to actually have everything all the time, it's nice to go, well, actually, let's just go and do the simpler things. And just that slower way of life, which we always say we're going to get round to, but then things come up and we can't help ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So to actually have that opportunity to go, actually, no, let's just go and just go there and just go and relax. That's been really good.
Yeah.
it's just not losing sight that it's been a really difficult situation for people.
For a lot of people, it's been
really
really tough. Yeah.
really hard. And our jobs have kind of given us insight into some of the real horrible situations that people have found themselves in. But I do feel that God uses any opportunity to bring about good and to bring about change. So that's what I would say.
Amazing. Yeah, I know for myself, I totally agree with. I used to feel like I would just process my way through the day. Like, get up, got to have breakfast, get the boys done, the drop Ollie at school, Toby there, go here, go to work, do that process, get back, pick the boys, wash, bed, do some 2 hours for myself, or do something with Sarah, and then go to bed and rinse and repeat the next day. And it was just processing through life. Every stage was, what's the next thing I've got to go and do? Whereas I've basically been retired for 3 months. It's like I just get up and go, what are we doing today?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I haven't got to get the boys to school. I haven't got to take Toby to the childminder because they're shut. And, you know, like, what do? We just do what we want. And actually, it's really, I mean, it's been a blessing for me. I know it has been very tough for a lot of people, but it's been wonderful.
I think one thing that
I feel a little bit guilty saying that in a way, but you know.
One thing that I've really had the opportunity to do is spend more time with Evelyn. You know, Becky gets an extra couple of days than I do, just one-to-one. But to have had that one-to-one time with her, I've really appreciated, because, as you say, you get up, we get breakfast, we get ready, she goes to nursery, then I go to work, and then by the time I've got back from work, I have an hour and a half with her, then it's bedtime. But actually to be able to say, well, no, this morning we're going to go and do this, and this afternoon we're going to go and do that, and that's been really nice.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, both Adam and Becky, for being with us this morning. It's been lovely to chat and lovely to see you, because I've not seen you both for a while, actually. So I've seen Adam a few times, but it's lovely to see you both. Thank you for joining us.
There's a grace when the heart is under fire. Another way when the walls are closing in. And when I look at the space between where I used to be and this reckoning, I know I'll never be alone. There was another in the standing next to me, there was another in the war, holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding how I've been set free? There is a cross that bursts the burden, where another died for me. There is another in the fire. Beneath the waters, I'm no longer a slave to my sin anymore. And should I fall in the space between what remains of me and this reckoning, either way I won't bow to the things of this world. I know I will never be alone. There is another in the fire, standing next to me. There is another in the waters, holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding, the power set me free. There is a grave that holds nobody. Now the power lives in me. There is another in the fire. Oh, there is darkness bows to him. I can neither roll in the heavens as the space between west and I feel the ground shake beneath us as the prison walls cave in. Nothing stands between us. Nothing stands between us. There is no other name but the name that is Jesus. He who was and still is and will be through it all. So come on, May, in the space between all the things unseen and this reckoning. I know I'll never be alone. I know I'll never be alone. There'll be another in the fire standing next to me. There'll be another in the waters holding back the seas. And should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me, I'll count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. And I can see the light in the darkness as the darkness bows to him. I can hear the roar in the heavens as the space between west and I can feel the ground shake beneath us as the prison walls cave in. Nothing stands between us. Nothing stands between. Be another in the fire standing next to me. There'll be another in the waters holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me, I count the joy from